Welcome back from that break. And here we are. Our focus is employment generation in Nigeria. There is a big task for the current government, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his members of his cabinet. Nigeria must create at least 27 million new formal jobs within the next 5 years. That is between now and 2030. Or else, there will be a sharp rise in unemployment in Nigeria. And we all know what it means when we have idle people all around us, all around our houses or community. So joining me right now is Mr. Adesanya Adejokun, who will be helping us understand what it means to create jobs and why have we been having issues with creating jobs in Nigeria. Mr. Sonya, a good day to have you on the show, sir.
Good afternoon, viewers. We've been having issues.
All right. So let's get down to the discussion right now, sir. Sir, what do you make of this new call by Nigerian Economic Summit Group, who call on the government of Nigeria that they must create 27 million new jobs for Nigerians youth?
Who call on the government of Nigeria that they must create 27 million jobs for Nigerians? Yeah, good afternoon once again. And the NESG, remember, the NESG has been on for many years now. And year in, year out, they come out to give recommendations. They look at what is happening and engage government and offer advice. You also know that the NESG is about the economy, it's about private sector. It's a means by which government and the private sector come together once in a year around this time to look at the economy and suggest ways of improvement. Right now, they're talking about employment generation. Yeah, the right thing to do is to look at employment because we know that is a time bomb on our hands if it is not properly handled. According to statistics, official statistics, of course, the young people in Nigeria, which the millennials, they constitute up to 50% of Nigeria's population. And they graduate from school year in, year out. The orientation has not really changed from when we were also young, which is supposed not to be so. You remember that when we were young, we were looking to leave government, leave school, and then get employed. But things are no longer the same. The population explosion is a reality now. You know that every year about 2 million or 2.5 million young people write JAM. And out of those, about 250,000 are admitted. And so we imagine that at least 250,000 or thereabout graduate from universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education each year. And where are we employing them? So there's this gap. Many of them they don't have where to go. They don't have a real formal employment. And aside from those, there are those who didn't even go to universities, who didn't go to colleges of education, who didn't attend polytechnics, who just probably went to technical schools, or those who went to learn skills, or those who even didn't finish secondary school. All of them are supposed to get something. So it's a serious thing that it's a good thing that the NESG this year is concentrating on employment. Yeah.
Interesting. But Mr. Sonya, in your own view, what do you think is the challenge against employment generation in Nigeria, both on the government side and the private sector side?
First of all, on the government side, government is not actually supposed to be a major employer of labor, although they are, and everywhere in the world, government employs, and it's part of what government is supposed to do anytime that there is a problem in the economy. The government is supposed to come in so that things will not escalate. And if we look at what is really happening right now, I think government is doing so. Not only this government, over the years, that has been part of what government is doing. Because if you go to most ministries, parastatals, and departments of government today, you see a lot of people that are idle. So they are not supposed to be employed, but they are employed. Why? Because part of the reason why government exists is for the good, for the well-being of the citizenry. And so government employees, even if they are not necessary, because you remember during the COVID years, I mean, during the COVID period, most government, the federal government especially, asked workers to stay at home for more than 1 year. And what happened? Did our economy really suffer? No, it didn't really suffer because most of government employees are not really doing much, but they are there for social security purposes. As for the private sector, yeah, the private sector actually is the engine room of growth, as it is said often and often, and it is supposed to be the largest employer of labor. So, is the private sector living up to its billing? Yeah, it is. But the point is, the economy is not really big enough for the private sector to do what it's supposed to do. And that's why we look at employment and say there is massive unemployment. Even though when I actually look at these things, I think there are many ways to look at it. If you say the unemployed, if you talk about private sector, are we talking about the organized private sector, or we are looking at the informal sector? Because in Nigeria, the economy is largely informal. Look at the stock exchange, for instance. How many companies are there? Less than 100 companies are on the stock exchange. And what are they doing? They are doing what they can't do. But are they really the largest employers? No. You go to the informal sector of the economy, the welders are there, the tailors are there, the fashion designers are there, Nollywood is there, mechanics are there, drivers are there. All these people, most of them are not recorded in the employment configuration. So most of them are regarded as unemployed. But when you really look at it and you look at a driver, for instance, look at a commercial driver. At the end of the day, does he make more money than somebody in government employment of his stature? Yeah, he does, certainly. Because a driver goes home with, let's assume that the driver goes home with 15, 20,000 naira in a day. Go to government. How much does a government employer earn in 1 year? In 1 month. And you compare them, you will notice that people in the informal sector are, even though they will be recorded as largely unemployed, but they have livelihood. And so I think that is why the United Nations and its agencies right now are no longer looking much into employment, but livelihood. Meaning that what are you doing to survive? What are you doing to ensure you have a good livelihood? That's the focus right now, rather than employment. Again, if you look at it, how many people out of in this world, these young people that we have now, what is their orientation? Are they really looking for employment? Is that what they are looking for? No. Most of them are looking to employ themselves. And that's why you see graduates, after leaving the university, maybe somebody went to the university and trained as a doctor. He comes out and says that he wants to be a musician. And he's a musician and he's doing very well. So that's his passion. And people are now benefiting from their passion more than from this formal sector employment and what have you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, interesting. But let's also take a view of what NASG is talking about. That is Nigerian Economic Summit Group are saying pertaining to employment challenge in Nigeria. For them, it's like we have the problem of shallow private sector because of infrastructure deficit and other aspects, particularly they mention of our weak education system. But for you, how much of these are really played down on employment generation in Nigeria?
Yeah, I really believe that in more ways than one, yeah, the NESG, Nigeria Economic Summit Group, what they are discussing right now and looking at is apt. They are talking about the shallow market, the shallowness of the private sector. Yeah, because they are not really grounded. The issue that we have, and I think it will correct itself over time, is that the influence of government is too much. And most of the people, most of the private sector operators, they didn't really start like that. And, many of them fell into it, and then they started trudging on and learning on the job. They also spoke about education. Yeah, if you look at our education system, as of a fact, if a young man goes into the university right now to study engineering, for instance, what's he really studying? It's after he has left the university that he will now start training himself. And that's why most of our engineers are not able to do certain things. Although I know that engineers are different from artisans, and they're also different from, they are different. But then you still have to know, you have to have the deep knowledge. I know a young man many years ago who was studying mechanical engineering in one of our prominent university, one of the best universities that we will mention, that you can mention in this country. And he said something happened. I think we were going on a trip, and the vehicle had an issue, and we were waiting there looking for how to get a mechanic to come and fix it. Eventually, I think out of conscience pricking him or something. I mean, maybe shyness, maybe share. Well, he was shy, and then he said that we shouldn't look at him, because in his university they have never shown him any practical thing. That what all they teach them is theory. But this is different from their counterparts or their mates who travel abroad to go and study. If you go to Europe, you go to even in Cyprus, northern Cyprus, as small as northern Cyprus is, those who go there to study they are confronted with practicals. It's not that there are no equipment per se in our universities, but they are not bringing them out. They only bring them out when there is accreditation panels coming from the Federal Ministry, or maybe National Universities Commission, or the Federal Ministry of Education, to come and look at them and do accreditation. They will open the laboratories, open the workshops, and show them equipment. But as soon as they go, they lock these places up. Probably the lecturers themselves are not familiar with the issues. And so, if the lecturers are not familiar with the engines, how will they teach their students what they don't know anything about? So, our education system, it needs a real adjustment, a real panel beating, And when you look at it also, you look at other things. There's really a lot of issues with our economy. But beyond that, I also see the issue of attitude as contributing to unemployment. A lot of people will rather keep their money in the banks, put their money in the capital market, keep their money in the what is it now? In funds, capital market funds and so on, and begin to generate interest rather than go and establish industries or cottage industries. Why? Because they are afraid that when you employ a young Nigerian to work for you, the first thing he's thinking is how to steal, how to fleece, how to destroy that company, because the attitude of our people is that this man has gone to steal money from somewhere, and so let us also steal from him. I know some people who came abroad to come and establish cottage industries. I know one who came to establish a poultry business, and he brought a lot of money, put his brother and some other people in charge. Before you know it, they destroyed everything. There was nothing for him. And so he just went back and looked for a way and sold all the equipment on the farm, even sold the land. So that is also an issue. When our attitudes are wrong, there is no way that things will work well.
Exactly.
So there are so many reasons why employment seems rampant. But again, let me now say that for me, the way that we also gather our data is also suspect. Because when you look at it, when National Bureau of Statistics says there is X number of unemployed people, how did they determine it? Where do they go? Without trying to destroy anybody or destroy their work, I can say that it has never happened that the officials of NPC will come to my house to come and ask questions. I have never seen them. And I have lived in many parts of Nigeria in the past. I've never been accosted on the streets. Nobody has knocked at my gate. on this street that I live, I've never seen any officials from National Bureau of Statistics marking a house or going from house to house to say that they are asking questions. So I don't know if it doesn't happen to me. And most people that I interact with, nobody has said that anybody has asked them such questions. I'm not saying they don't, but I'm wondering why I have never been a target of their inquiry. I
Exactly.
wonder why any of the people that I interact with has never been a target of their inquiries.
Exactly.
So where do they get it from?
Interesting, interesting. I think this will be a conversation that we need to continue to interrogate going forward. And Mr. Sonia, I really want to appreciate you for coming on the show. And it's something that we would still revisit. And I believe that someone like you will definitely call upon to come and help us to, say one or two things on the way forward on Nigerian employment generation on our economy. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
Yeah, you too.
All right. I've been speaking with Mr. Adesanya Adejokun, who happen to be a media, consultant, as well as someone who understands the Nigerian economy very well. He has covered Nigerian economy for a very long time as a reporter and as a leading editor on the Nigerian Journal. And here we are talking about Nigerian employment generation, as well as the new tax law have been opinionated by Mojid. This is a good way to leave the show today, talking about Nigerian market report as brought to you on ADBN Television. My name is Adefola Alamikonti. We'll come your way next time. I want to say enjoy the rest of your day and God bless you. See you around soon.